Welcome to My Curious Mind. Have you ever wondered why, when somebody offers you something, you automatically say no and don't really understand where it came from and what are the impacts of it? Now, in the last podcast, I talked about habits and how they affect you. But at this time, I want to talk about the things that are not in current reality, or the places where you are not in current reality. Now, what the heck has that got to do with life? And why would I be talking about it? As a coach, I have discovered that most people in some areas of their life are not in current reality. Now, I'll give you a classic example. Maybe as a young person, you did not like broccoli. Let's say you're 9 years old, just hate the strong taste of broccoli. But here you are, you're 29 or 39, and you're still saying no to broccoli. You might, in fact, enjoy the taste of broccoli now that you're mature or an older person. And maybe you have become very interested in your diet, but you still don't eat broccoli. Part of it is to do with the way that the brain stores memories and associations with things. Just as an example, early on, when I was about 7 in the UK, we had gone to Italy and my father bought seeds for broccoli. Now, broccoli doesn't necessarily grow so well in the UK because it's a fairly warm need climate. But anyway, he tried to grow broccoli for us. Well, none of us had ever really seen broccoli, and it didn't taste very good to me. And so I developed shall we say, a memory association of not liking, and not wanting anything to do with broccoli. Maybe it was the way that it was cooked, because my mother, being English, cooked everything until it was kind of mushy, and it was rather strong tasting and kind of messy. And so I developed an aversion to broccoli. Fast forward, I'd migrated to Canada, and in one of the first summers that I was here, actually it was the second summer that I was in Canada, and there was a vegetable plate of different vegetables that I didn't know. One of them was this little floret, which I discovered was broccoli. I knew what the cauliflower was, but I hadn't really been exposed to broccoli or red peppers and green peppers. So I was busy dipping this little floret and dipping it in ranch dressing, which I found absolutely delicious, and popping that into my mouth, and I was kind of eating the pile of broccoli down. And the host, a young lady at the time, said, "Oh, I see you like broccoli." And my brain went through a kind of for a moment or two, because I'd been saying for years, I don't like broccoli. And here I'd been eating it for 20 minutes, in fact, plowing through it. That's a sort of a simple way of saying my consciousness was not in current reality. I was still reacting out of old habits or old beliefs or old associations. It's funny how the memory and associations anchor behavior and decisions. It doesn't make any rhyme nor reason, but there are many areas in our lives where we have opinions or beliefs that are anchored back in some part in the past, and we say no, or we have an adverse reaction to something or some circumstances based on an old experience, an old belief. Now, I've always been a curious person, as you know from listening to these podcasts, but I wasn't really paying attention to anything, shall we say, to do with broccoli until somebody pointed it out to me. And that's when I got curious. I started to wonder what other parts of my life I was not in current reality. If you think of all of your areas of your life that you have opinions or beliefs and you react to this current situation negatively or positively. Family relationships for me as a young man and as a young adult were strained and difficult. So my reactions to family, even the word of family, was a little cringeworthy. It was kind of, I resisted it. But I was all right with the idea of friends because I had really good friends. And so there it was, stuck in my memory, that friends are potentially better and more important than family. Of course, neither of them are true in reality. So it took me a while to bring it into current reality by looking at what I currently believed versus what my old belief was. Now, why is this important to you? You might ask, well, what does this matter? Yeah, I can change my mind about anything. The thing is that most of us make decisions in nanoseconds. What? Yes, you make decisions in your other than conscious, in your unconscious, if you like, so fast that you can miss on opportunities, both from a business point of view and from a personal point of view, and you don't notice it. So you'll look for, if you have a belief, for example, that all banks are there to take advantage of you, if a bank offers you a business loan or an help with your business planning or with your financial planning, you might go, oh, well, I don't know about banks. And so you might lose an opportunity. It's the same with business. If someone approaches you to buy into your business and you've worked hard to build it, if somebody approaches you and you'll go, no, based on, well, when did you base that decision on? Did you base that decision on when you were 20 or 25 or 5? It's always difficult to assert yourself until you take a look at what is current reality for you, and also what your current belief about yourself is and your self-image. So I've worked up an exercise as a coach for people to help them sort of bring themselves to current reality. Often people don't believe that they've accomplished very much. But if you start making a list of all the things you've accomplished, both big, small, in various degrees. I mean, you don't think of accomplishment as such as obtaining your driver's license. Most people get excited about a university degree or a managerial position, but they don't think about the accomplishment of becoming a parent or volunteering or being a big brother or a big sister or being a coach for a soccer team for kids. These are actual accomplishments. But the other thing is that what's in our lives is also what are the different lessons that you have learned over your lifetime. You see, some of them are good. Moving to Canada, traveling, teaching, going and getting more education, that's the good. But what was the bad? That I had to leave the UK and making the decision that when I left the UK, I should leave everything behind, including the relationships that actually were good for me. The ugly, well, sometimes you can be colored in your life because of the ugly things that have happened to you. I once got mugged. It was a terrible experience, and it made such an impact on me that I started to use only credit cards which I could control and cancel. And so often didn't have the money in my pocket that I might give to somebody who was in need or having a challenge at that moment or sitting on the street and needing help. So these different things, these different lessons start to impact everything that you do. Now, we don't think about it, but what are the goals that you've reached? Have you bought a home or in the process of buying a home? Have you got a promotion, completed a project? Are you a gardener? Have you spoken in a foreign country? Have you worked in a foreign country? Have you gone in had a vacation in a country which didn't speak your native language? So all of these things make up this great mosaic that is you. So where do we build this idea about who we are from? Well, let me go back. When we are small, we're usually getting our beliefs, our attitudes, and our assumptions from those immediately around us. And really from 5, up until 5 years old, that's where we get most of our learning from our grandparents, our aunts, our uncles, our cousins, our playmates from the street or from the neighborhood or from family friends. All of those things start to form a base of who you are. That's as you grow, then you go to school. Then your friends at school, your teachers, your learning experience starts to fill out who you are. You start to base and develop your self-concept. And that continues all the way through school and high school. And you hear of everybody's stories of high school was terrible. But you see, in my experience was that high school was great. I did really well in high school. Now, what's this got to do with current reality? Well, you see, if you have a bad event somewhere in the past, say at high school, a failure in a class or getting a D or a fail in an exam, there is energy there. And even if you're 25, 35, or 45 years old, that negative energy, unless it is dealt with or recognized, acts as a brake towards potentially learning, going for a new job, going for an interview, being in a relationship. That negative energy sits on the past side of you. Now, for example, maybe you did really well in high school, as I did, and so you look at challenges in a different way based on what you learned at that time. So I learned that study and thinking about things was really good. So that has the effect of pulling me forward. That's a positive energy. Now, right with it, though, I had some spectacular failures in my middle 20s where I overreached because I had the belief that I could do anything. And so now I've got conflicting energy. The energy from I can do anything that I focus on from high school against, oh, I failed big time financially. This is a problem. I can't do well in business. And these two energies now are in conflict with each other. But do I notice it from day to day? Well, now I don't, because I have worked very hard to sort of round up all of these different areas of my life to current reality. So how do you get to current reality? Well, I have an exercise for you, if you wish to do it. And I think it's one of the most powerful exercises I've ever used in coaching. Here's the exercise. Take some time, get a blank book, a small notebook. Don't do it on flyaway paper or loose paper, because you want to keep this with you over time. Take 6 months or so, take a look at it and update it. So here's the exercise. Write out all of your accomplishments, big and small. Obtaining your driver's license, maybe getting a university degree or a college diploma. Did you reach a managerial position? Did you start your own company? Did you become a parent? Did you volunteer? So write down a list, but do it chronologically, using from 0 to 5 years, from 5 to 10, from 10 to 15, etc. Move all the way until you're up to your present age. Now, that takes some time when you're as old as me. But then, along with your accomplishments, big and small, write down your different lessons that you have learned in your lifetime. The good things, that if you work hard and volunteer, good things happen. The bad, making bad choices, the ugly things that have happened to you. And what did you learn from the result of those experiences? Did you start to modify your behavior because of something that was bad that stopped you from actually having what you want? And what goals have you reached? Have you bought a car? Have you gained a promotion? Have you completed a large project where you were project leader, or a large project where you were part of a team? Have you moved to a foreign country, had a foreign vacation? Now, these are just some suggestions for you, but make sure you include all the areas of your life. What's been the good, the bad, and the ugly, and what have you learned in relationships? What have you learned and experienced in your family relationships? What are they like now? Are they good? Are they bad? Are they ugly? Are they wonderful? Academic achievements. Did you graduate from high school? Did you go to college? Did you go to university? Did you take adult education later? What achievements do you have? Do you have diplomas or degrees or completed courses? What are your work achievements? Were you employed? Did you get a job, and did you move up the chain? And did you achieve certain goals? Did you achieve certain salaries? But here's one that most people forget. What do you do for play? What do you do for play as a child? Did you play soccer? Did you play tennis? Were you a swimmer? Did you play field hockey, or did you play ice hockey? What were the playful things that you did as a child? And what are you doing for play and growth now? And last but not least, spiritual growth or philosophical changes. Did you continue with your spiritual growth with your family's church? Did you change your belief structure? have you adopted a new philosophy? As an example, I grew up in a Catholic English home. My father was what you would call Anglo-Saxon, sort of Protestant Church of England, but my mother had a background in Catholic Church. But I grew up in an English Protestant church, which was a compromise for both of my parents. But today, my philosophy is Zen and Buddhism. So that's quite a change. So take time to fill it out. Do this in 5-year increments, and in each one, look at relationships, family, academic or work achievements, play, what you do to play, spiritual growth, travel, philosophy. Now, what's the point of doing this? Well, when you've completed the exercise in 5-year increments, notice any changes. What are the good things that have occurred for you, and did they repeat over time? Or did the bad experiences repeat over time? And what has changed? What beliefs do you hold on to? What experiences do you hold on to that now you know is not true? For example, I love broccoli now. In fact, it's a kind of staple vegetable around my house. Whereas when I was, about 9 or 8 or 9, oh, I hated broccoli. I didn't want to eat it, didn't want to take it off my plate. That's nasty slime. So there's so many different areas that you might not be in current reality. So what does that mean for you? Why is that important? If you have a large part of your life that has all these negative tags in the past, it will hold you up from moving forward or creating the life that you want. And by examining them and taking a look at them, you can decide whether that is currently true for you. And if it's not true, you can give it up. I mean, I've always loved ice cream, but I modify the amount of ice cream that I eat now because, well, I want to watch my waistline. Whereas when I was a kid, if I got ice cream, I wanted a lot of it. So as an adult, I ate a lot of it. Well, getting to current reality is quite an exercise, and it does take some time. Let me know what you think of the exercise. Let me know if you're going to do the exercise. But here's my challenge to you. What I know is if you don't get yourself to current reality, there will be all sorts of things that stop you from creating the life that you want. Love and peace. Take care, Jeffrey.